Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in. I wanted to do a video on consistency, and the whole point of the video I wanted to do originally was the secret to consistency, right? Is to have the self trust, right, through the fuck ups, but have radical self accountability about the fuck ups. But honestly, that's kind of it. That's kind of, I feel like if I just sit here and talk about it, that I'm just gonna fucking ramble. So I don't know. I just want to talk about something else today. Let's talk about environment, okay? And we'll talk about different phases and different environments. And I think I'm just gonna ramble about that for several minutes, if you don't mind. So I really made it an intention to be in several different environments, right, throughout my 20s. I really took the advice to heart. Dumbest person in the room, right? You can still argue that, lol. But that really, really helped me out on like so many levels. And then I put myself in environments to be like a teacher because back when I was like an assistant coach, I really realized when I coached like these students for whatever like 6 to 8 weeks, I I really got more out of it than the students themselves, because I feel like the material I was teaching, I was re exploring, I was having different angles, I was creating exercises like from the ground up. So my understanding of like certain things like really like deepened over time. So I really try to put myself in the teacher role as much as possible. And with the communicator that I am, obviously I was very good at it, right? I'm not going to mince words. I was just good at it, or at least I think I was from my perspective. So I really made an effort to put myself like in a teacher role. Even when I went on to go beyond W9 and that obviously didn't work out, I still try to put myself in that mentor role as much as possible and then maybe bank off that authority a little bit. But when that kind of didn't happen, and I was in my parents' house and I didn't really like the situation in my parents' house. Like listen, I used to live in like a house full of like tech people with like Wi-Fi and like super like fiber Wi-Fi, and just I couldn't do I couldn't deal with the best of I couldn't even like stream shit. It was fucking ridiculous. And like money is like oxygen, and I just needed to breathe. Okay, so the job market was what it was right in 2024. Not much better now. I got the Verizon job just to have oxygen, but my environment being back in my parents' place, it just wasn't good for me as someone who just hit like 30, 31 at the time. It felt like my life was just on pause, right? And I was attempting to work on certain things and save money and whatnot, but I felt like it wasn't moving forward. I just felt like I just wasn't alive. You know what I mean? And I was dealing with a lot of the fallout, right, of those 2+ years and things not working out, right? So I was dealing with that while living in my parents' place, and it was not easy. So I got through it, and here I am. We're doing fine. After that whole like saga, right? I was working at Verizon, and I was a sales rep, and I had great quality of sale, but I I did not like being there. It was not for me. I remember my second week there, and I said, I'm like, yo, this is just like some modern car dealership, and I had that job, and then I moved, and I was just too good for that place, and just moved on from there one way or another. And then here I am, right, having another job to pay the bills because I lost my job mid move, which was absolutely insane. I actually, speaking of environment, I kind of forced myself in this environment to kind of step back into the world, right? When I lost my Verizon job mid move, which is absolutely insane, right? That's crazy. And I literally spent like, the first 2 months rent in this room, right? So I had to figure that out. And then I get this job, right? It's a seasonal. And I just used my experience to make the seasonal to a full time, right? With my results. It's just something I had to make happen, right? And here we are, we're okay. And so now I'm back in an environment where there's pressure, right? I'm surrounded by people who are workers who do things. And it's like, man, I was not a man being at my mama's house. It just was not for me, dog. So I want to talk about environment. Just kind of ramble on here while my brain's fried for my day and I'm chilling, right? But I promised video content, and you have to admit this was like kind of entertaining, right? Just me yammering on here, but bye, Felicia.